Hello, welcome back to Soul Light Reflections. I'm Rachel. If we haven't met before, I'm super excited that you're here. I want to start off by saying that the reason that I started this podcast is to be able to just share what's on my heart and not really have any rules or any expectations around it. And today is one of those episodes where I'm simply going to share an experience from my own life that happened recently that was just so crazy. One of those plot twists in life where you're just like, wait, what? And it's like a total mind fuck. That kind of experience I'm going to share with you. But then I'll also, of course, give you some tangible tips to take away with you. Some of them kind of like fun and silly, and some of them very serious and heart-opening and grounding. And then I'm going to take you through, if you choose to stay to the end, a short meditation visualization that goes along with this story that I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a kind of off the wall episode / story / visualization that we're going to do together. Disclaimer, if you're a little bit squeamish or like a little bit shy when it comes to things like taking a shit, this is not the episode for you. I'm just going to throw that out there. But if you are like, what is she talking about? That sounds really interesting. And like, where the heck is she going to go with this? Keep listening. I want you to be able to really picture this story. So bear with me, but I'm going to go into detail here. So it was the night that Max and I actually ended up getting engaged. And one of these days, him and I will find the time and the capacity and energy to record that episode together, all about how the engagement happened. But it's just important to know that this was that same night, because that night was one of the most magical and profound nights that I've had in like my entire life. So this happened before all of like the engagement stuff. We were at Shambhala Music Festival this July, and we had like a crazy turn of events in the night. It wasn't bad or anything. It just was like mind fucking. And then we went to see Peekaboo play, which I have been coining this term, conscious bass. I feel like there's a lot of bass artists in the EDM community that it's not just like wah, wah, like really wonky, like crazy transformers clinking against each other type of bass music. It's like really soul moving, and it's got a really nice beat to it, and it just makes you want to like groove, and oh God, so good. So anyway, if you haven't looked up Peekaboo's music, I highly recommend. But anyway, I digress. We were at Peekaboo's set, and it was like bringing me back to life after this crazy like experience that we had prior. And we were just like, yes, I needed this bass. I needed to groove. And maybe like 10 to 15 minutes into the set, I was like, oh my God, I need to take a shit right now. Like right now. And earlier in the weekend, I had walked by this like long set of porta-potties, and one of them had this gorgeous mural on the front of it of this like lion or tiger. I don't remember which it was, but the point there is that it was painted all like cosmic bright colors and just like really drew you in when you looked at it. And I remember looking at it throughout the weekend thinking, wow, that's just like this tapestry that Max used to have up in his old room that was like this cosmic tiger. And it had all of the same colors and it had the same feel to it. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Well, fast forward, we're back to Saturday at Peekaboo's set. We're like 10 to 15 minutes in. And I'm like, I need to take a shit right now. So I walk out of the crowd. I'm like, Max, stay right here. I'll be right back. I just have to take a shit. He's like, do you want me to come with you? I'm like, no, I'm good. So I walk over to this line of porta potties that was right outside the stage that we happened to be at. And I literally waited for that specific porta potty. Something in me was like, you need to go into this one. Don't just take the next one that comes available. And mind you, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I need to shit so bad. And so I'm waiting and waiting. And then a couple others go and people are like, are you sure you don't want that other one? I'm like, no, I'm good. So eventually the one comes open. It wasn't that long. And then I went in, and it literally felt like the best release I think I've ever had. And mind you, whatever, maybe TMI, but I love shitting. I think that it's a great feeling, like better out than in. I want to get that out of my body, Like I feel like all of that waste needs to be out of your body, and it's way better than the opposite, right? Like keeping it in. And so anyway, I take the biggest shit. Like it literally felt amazing. I was like, yes, I needed that, right? I felt so much lighter immediately. And this is where it gets a little graphic. So if you're like a little squeamish, maybe this is not the episode for you. I'm just going to say it right now. So I go to wipe, and I'm telling you, nothing was there. There was nothing to wipe. Like it was dry. Not even just like, oh, it was like, whatever. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but it was dry. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? Like, I know I just took a shit. And so I turn around and I had my like headlamp on. It was dark out, but I like, this is kind of gross, but I looked in the porta potty because I'm like, did I not just take a massive shit? Like, why is there nothing there to wipe? And there was nothing. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm so confused right now. I swear I just took a shit. I'm so confused. I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. And I just start cracking up. I am laughing so hard and I'm like, did I just take a metaphorical shit? Like, did I just literally release all of this stagnant energy? And it literally felt like a physical massive relief, but I didn't actually physically take a shit? So I am cracking up to myself in this porta potty. And at the same time, I'm trying to like get dressed again. I had this like one piece mesh bodysuit on that had long sleeves on it. It's kind of like fishnet material. And so like, obviously I took it down to like go to the bathroom. And then I'm like trying to pull it up, trying to like get myself like situated again. And I start laughing even harder because I'm like, oh my God, it literally, like, I'm at Shambhala Music Festival. It literally does not matter if I even pull this up over my arms and like get it back to where it's supposed to be, because I could literally walk out of this porta potty after taking a metaphorical shit. I could walk out completely naked and no one would bat an eye. Like, this is the ultimate moment of being contrary to society. I feel like there's probably a better way to say that, but I'm like in it, so I'm not even gonna try. It's so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. So I literally walk out of this porta potty with my bodysuit hanging off, like it's around my waist and I don't have my sleeves on. And I literally walk up to Max and I keep cracking up and he's like, how did it go? And I was like, oh my God, like I cannot wait to tell you. And I'm still cracking up and he's like, what is so funny? And I go, look. And literally, like, my bodysuit is halfway down my body. I'm like, I didn't even need to put it on. Like, I'm at Shambhala. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. And it just reminded me that, like, nothing in this life actually matters. Not nearly as much as the amount of weight that we put on some of these things in life. And it's just so funny to me. Like, that's why I love music festivals. And I plan on doing a lot more episodes about music festivals, about psychedelics, about my experiences, about my relationship with Max and how that has ignited so much of that playfulness and inner child, because I spent way too fucking long in my life just being so serious and being convinced that like this is the way and I guess this is how things go. I guess you're just like can't be fully happy ever. Yeah, of course shit's gonna happen in life, but to be completely blunt, none of us get out of it alive, right? So you might as well enjoy and like be happy while you're here living and find ways to do that and find ways to like find those moments to just crack up and laugh and do silly things like not putting your top on all the way at a music festival. So the reason I felt really called to record this episode is because we all have those times when like we need to let something go, like an emotion or a stressor or like a situation or a person that's been holding us down. And it feels like we're like on the edge of release and we just need that like final like boom. And then you get that metaphorical shit, right? So it might not for you look like going literally into a porta potty, right? And like having this like huge release. But what if we could intentionally release that energetic blockage? What if we could figure out a way for ourselves to, like for me, that experience was me walking into this porta potty not realizing that that's what was going to happen. But what if we could create that intentionally for ourselves? So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to first talk about some like a little bit more serious tips for how to release, and then we'll go into some that are like maybe a little bit off the wall, but I want you to find ways to ignite that inner child and just like laugh and play about it, because as I've talked about in other episodes, sometimes more healing happens when you are playful and excited about it. Number one can be breath work. I highly recommend, like, do a quick Google search. See if there's any practitioners in your area that offer like full-on group breathwork classes. I experienced such massive release when I was going consistently to breathwork classes at a meditation studio when I lived in Santa Monica, California. It is something so different when you are doing it in a room full of other people, when you're doing really intense breath work. The type of breath work that I'm talking about is not the type of breath work that I typically do with clients just because I am not a breathwork facilitator. This type of breath work you need to do with someone who is certified in breathwork facilitation who knows what they're doing, because to your body, it can feel like hyperventilation sometimes, and you have to be prepared for that and have someone that is very able to guide you through that. So this is more of like that holotropic breath work. Basically, it's deep, fast-paced breathing techniques, and it actually can induce like altered states of consciousness. It's a really powerful tool, and that's the type of breath work that I was doing at these meditation classes. It is amazing what you can release, and it can induce all kinds of feelings. It can induce all kinds of sensations in your body. It can induce things like laughing and crying and screaming, and it's amazing. It is one of the best releases I have ever found in my life, and I highly recommend, like I said, Google it, find some sort of practitioner. There's a lot of practitioners that do things virtually as well, like you could do a virtual session with them, but that is really, really powerful. Another one is grounding through movement. So like shaking it out. And I'm not just talking like flowing to music. I'm talking like shaking it out. Whether you're like at a festival or in a show or in your living room or outside on the trail, like huge advocate for intuitive movement. No rules. Just like doing what your body wants, flowing where you want to flow, closing your eyes, turning on especially some bass heavy music. Like I was talking about, that conscious bass. If you're curious about like what the heck I'm talking about when I say conscious bass music, go to my Spotify, search Rachel Albo, all one word, my name, all one word though. That's really important, or else you're not going to find me. And I have multiple playlists on there. I have one called Rising High, and I have one called Deep in the Soul, and then I have another one called Conscious Bass. So definitely look up my Spotify and go heart all of those playlists, because it's going to completely move your soul. But I'm talking, turn on that type of music and just move your freaking body as hard as you can. Like literally picture all of this stagnant energy just like flinging out of your fingertips, out of your wrists, your hips, your shoulders, your head even. Like really wiggle and jump and scream and whatever you need to do, get that tension out of your body. Because unfortunately for us, our body is the thing that holds on to stress and tension and stagnant energy. And so if you're not actively practicing releasing this energy through your body, it's going to continue to stay stuck deep inside. And so that's why also breath work is another really powerful tool, because you're using your body to move that energy through and out. Now, there are other ways to release stagnant energy. The first two that I talked about are definitely going to be the most beneficial. But I want to quickly touch on a couple of other options. So journaling is always a really good one, like just grabbing your journal and writing it out, like just jotting down what it is that it feels like you're holding on to, getting raw and getting messy and not censoring yourself, not being like, oh, should I write this? Should I write this about that person? Should I write this about my life? I don't know. If you're ever feeling some kind of negative way about the things that you're writing, no problem. Still get it out and write it, but then burn that shit. I am a huge proponent of burning things because you can't ever go back to it. I posted about this on my Instagram recently, because it's a powerful tool for us to be able to like release and then not be able to like pull that thing back because it's gone out of this physical realm. Another one is visualization. So I'm going to take you through a visualization at the end of this. So that's kind of off the wall, but we're going to try it together. Another one is cleansing rituals. So whether it's like literally taking a bath or smudging like your home with Palo Santo or sage or incense or essential oil spray, these rituals can really help us to release stagnant energy and to kind of like wash away things that don't serve us anymore. The water in like something like an essential oil spray or literally taking a bath is really symbolic for emotional release. And then the smoke is about purifying like your space and your energy field. So I like pairing those together as well. Another one that can be powerful is working with crystals. Now, you don't have to be like super crazy woo-woo about it. The thing to remember is that crystals are also living beings, right? They have an energy about them. They have like atoms within them. And so crystals like black tourmaline or quartz, especially smoky quartz, can be really good for grounding and releasing. And what I like to think of is that these crystals, those two specifically, are really good at like absorbing any sort of negative or stagnant energy and then neutralizing it before releasing it back into our realm. So I like to think of it almost like a magnet. It's like pulling all of this stagnant energy out of you and then metabolizing it and then re-energizing it to this bright, lighter energy and then releasing it it back out. So crystals can be a really helpful tool as well. Now we'll go into some more like fun, maybe like kind of quirky ways to release that baggage or stagnant or negative energy. Number one is screaming into a pillow. Like if you have a ton of pent up frustration or tension or whatever, like screaming into a pillow can be so fucking effective. You could also, if you're able to find a space where you're safe enough to do so, let out like that deep primal scream, like maybe out in nature or somewhere secluded. Oh my God, the release you will feel is incredible. When I host in-person events and retreats, I encourage women to verbalize, to vocalize, like literally primal native sounds, because this is where we come from. We come from these beings that lived off the earth and were able to expel without anyone batting an eye, without anyone thinking they're weird or witchy or whatever. Like this is what we're needing to come back to, is our roots and connecting with the earth. Another one, if you're able to safely do so, is like smashing plates or glasses or throwing ice, like grabbing a bag of ice and just throwing those cubes across the ground or against a wall. The act of smashing something is so fucking satisfying. Like, let's be real. It also helps to release through your body, like I was talking about. So this might be a really kind of like mini destruction therapy session, but obviously do it safely. Another one, what about a bubble wrap stomping party? Hello, grab a whole roll of bubble wrap and just stomp on it, twist it, like squeeze it, do all of those and see if you can get every single bubble popped. It's such a fun way to release that energy. Another one that I actually try to intentionally incorporate at least a few times a year is like throwing a mini tantrum. Like having a tantric meltdown is so powerful. Sometimes I'll lay on the floor, sometimes in a bed, I'll kick my feet, I'll flare my arms, I'll punch a pillow. I will like go crazy. And sometimes it lasts 2 minutes and sometimes it's lasted like 20 to 25 minutes and I just go at it. And sometimes it turns into crying or screaming or laughing and I just like let whatever is meant to flow. Another really fun one is blowing bubbles and then like visualizing each of those bubbles kind of holding stress or worries or negative energy. And then as you watch them float away and they pop, that baggage pops with them. And then it's neutralized through the universe's loving energy and it allows more light, bright energy into the world because those negative feelings or thoughts or ideas are now popped. They're now neutralized. This is one that I recommend if you feel like there might be some stagnant energy within you, but it doesn't feel quite as like rageful. But if it's feeling like it's really bubbling up inside of you and you might need some intentional release beyond that, maybe this is one to hold back on and maybe we go more towards one of the more intense ones to begin. And then this one can be kind of a practice for when you need a little cleanup of your system here and there. Another one that kind of goes along with the same idea is popping a balloon for every negative thought. So maybe you like blow up some balloons. They don't have to be super big or anything. And you can take a Sharpie and just like write on that balloon whatever the thing is that you feel like is holding you back or what is making you feel uncomfortable. And then you blow it up and you just pop it, right? You can choose what you pop it with. Maybe you just squeeze it to pop it if you need to release some extra energy, or maybe you just take a safety pin and quickly pop it, or maybe you take a fork or a knife or scissors or something. Obviously, be safe. I don't want anyone coming back being like, I hurt myself. But this can be a really fun, like childlike way to release that energy. And if you're a parent, I highly recommend like utilize some of these with your kiddos. Like these might be some really effective tools for you to start teaching them early on for safe release of some of these stagnant energies. So if you're like driving or you're somewhere where you can't do like a visualization or meditation right now, maybe like put a pause in this and come back to it when you can. Or maybe you're like, I think I've heard enough. I don't really need to. Fine. Move on to the next episode. But if you're with me and you're able to take just a second, maybe like less than 5 minutes to do this visualization with me, stay with me because I feel like this will be really powerful and also a little bit like silly because why not? Now, before we get into this visualization, I want to warn you that in this visualization, I'm going to guide you to a porta potty. Now, I want you right now to set the tone and remind yourself this is not like a normal porta potty, okay? This is the cleanest, most exciting, most inviting porta potty you've ever seen in your life. And it's beautiful and it smells fresh and nice, like, because we're not actually taking shits in here, right? It doesn't have anything in it. It's not an actual porta potty. It's like a portal potty. We're walking into this portal. So I want you to like start to get that in your mind now so that when we go into this meditation, you're not like, oh God, like porta potty? I want you to think like, it's a portal, right? But the porta potty is just like a metaphor. So take a moment to get comfortable. And you're going to close your eyes when you're ready. And we're going to imagine that you're at a row of porta potties. Don't worry, they're clean, they're brand new, they're fresh. And you see this one porta potty with like the most beautiful mural on it, freshly painted from another being. And it's super inviting. And for some reason, you know for a fact that that is the porta potty that you need to go into. You're feeling really called to that specific one. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in, feel yourself becoming aware of all of the things that you've been carrying. Any doubts or fears or limiting beliefs or emotional baggage or relationships that are weighing you down. And you're walking up to this porta potty closer and closer as you're thinking about all of these things. They're all swirling in your mind. All of those shoulds you've placed on yourselves, any expectations from others, any sort of heaviness in your heart or on your mind. And you feel them gathering inside of you and it just like waiting to be released. And you get like a little bit of excitement knowing that release is on the way. And as you exhale, you open the door and you step into this porta potty. Don't worry, it doesn't smell. It's actually really inviting. And you're like, whoa, this is like the nicest porta potty I've ever been in. Crazy. And so then you're sitting on that porta potty and you're like, oh my God, it's time. I get to let all of this go. And you like feel all of these energies actively releasing. You feel them leaving your body like it's waste, but it's just things that your soul doesn't need to carry anymore. They've served their purpose, but now it's time for them to go. And with each new exhale, these old and stagnant energies start falling away. They're like literally dropping out of you effortlessly. And yes, it's silly. Yes, it feels silly. You're allowed to laugh right now. But you literally feel so much lighter immediately. Just start feeling that weight lift off of your shoulders. There's like tension that unclenches from your chest, from your heart. Your jaw releases. Your legs relax. This is that metaphorical shit. Trust me, it feels amazing to let it go. And then you just see all of it disappearing. It's being taken by the earth. The earth is able to transform these energies into something new. Everything that you're letting go is opportunity for new bright energy because the earth is able to metabolize it. The universe is able to turn it into something beautiful, new growth, changes, love. And then you take a moment to realize just how much lighter you feel. Now that you're no longer carrying that energetic junk, like your body and your mind and your spirit are just free. You feel so light. You're more open, more spacious, and more aligned with your authentic self. And then as you breathe in, you open the door and you walk out of that porta potty, that little portal. And you imagine the earth just sending you the most nourishing, vibrant energy in return. You open that door and it's just like all of this brightness around you. You walk out and you're clean and fresh and full of life. And you're drawing in this new energy, filling all of those spaces where all of that old energy was with this new bright energy. It's like an energetic detox, like it's refreshing and renewing you. And it's allowing you to move forward with more clarity and more confidence and an even more authentic version of yourself. And you take one more deep breath in, really sealing the deal, locking in all of that new, fresh, vibrant energy. And then when you're ready, you open your eyes. Well, that's what I have to share with you today. I hope that you are able to take some sort of practice from this podcast with you today, even if it's just simply remembering my hilarious story about taking a metaphorical shit, whatever, at least it brightened your day. I am so grateful that you are here sharing space and energy with me, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, whatever you have planned for the rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time of day it is whenever you're listening to this. As always, I would love to hear from you how this episode affected you, or if it is resonant at all, or if you've had maybe an experience like this before. Until next time, stay bright, stay vibrant, stay aligned, and I'll talk to you soon.